Hi, my name is Farah and I'm a yoga teacher. I'm based in Egypt and I get a lot of questions about blocks, yoga blocks. So I always say in my classes, if you don't have a block, you can just use something instead, like a few books or something like that. But if you're really serious about your practice, I really recommend that you do get a block because it can just be so helpful in so many ways. I can also do another video for you guys on how to actually use your blocks. But if you still haven't purchased a block and you're thinking about buying one, I'll give you today my recommendations on what kind of block you should get. I also have 3 different blocks here that I got from Egypt. So I'll tell you about the differences between them because some people are not really sure why would you get a cork block, why would you get a foam block? And you got this one as well. So if you're confused about these things and you want to buy your block, maybe just continue watching this video and you'll understand more about why we have 2 different types of blocks in yoga and what is best for you. So I'll start first with the cork block, and I got this one from Stark Fitness in Egypt, and I love these blocks. They're a bit heavy, so I wouldn't recommend them if you're kind of like on the go and you like to take your block with you on your weekend getaway and you want to take your block with you everywhere, because they're really heavy and they take up a lot of space. That's one thing. But what I love about these blocks is how sturdy they are, okay? They're super high quality. I can expect that I'm gonna have these blocks with me probably for the rest of my life. I don't think I will need to get a new one. They're super sturdy and they're really high quality. And what I would use these blocks for is to work on things like arm balances, especially because they're so like hard that when you stand up on them, if you're doing maybe a crow pose, when you stand up on them for any reason, you will not feel any kind of like unbalance or anything like that. So if I'm standing on the block and I'm just gonna go into a crow pose, there's no way that the block is gonna like sink down into the earth because it's cork, the material is really holding itself up. So it's really useful to work on things like arm balances and maybe also firefly. I love to use this block for firefly pose, Titi Basana. So yeah, that's what you would use that for. And they've also still got all of the different height variations. So whenever you want to maybe do something like different, you just adjust the height. So if I'm, for example, if I'm doing an extended side angle, the block is inside here. The first setting is just going to make it much more accessible. So if you're new to yoga, you can always keep it on the first setting, the highest one. And then you can just bring it a little bit lower and then even lower as your practice advances, as you get more used to the poses and things like that. So what else is there to talk about with these blocks? The only bad thing about these blocks, I wouldn't say bad thing, I would just say it's not very convenient if you are using these blocks in a very restorative practice. So for example, if I'm lying down, coming into a supported back bend, right there, this probably does not feel so comfortable. It just feels a bit like uncomfortable. Like I could use a pillow on top of that. And that's where I love these blocks. So these blocks are foam. This one is, the pink one is from Flexana, and that's a brand in Egypt. And this one is from Decathlon in Egypt as well. And these foam blocks, they're super light. So they're basically like air. They're super convenient if you want to take them anywhere with you. If you want to go on a trip and take them with you, that's really useful. They don't take up any space and they are super light. And they're also really useful for restorative practices. So I'm just going to take these away and put these blocks instead. If I lie down, if I bring my head and my back on this block and I just lie down, I'm really comfortable. Okay, so if you have a more of a gentle, sensitive like practice, you can get your foam blocks and put your head on them, put your back on them, and you won't have any discomfort. Meanwhile, the cork block will probably be a little bit more uncomfortable. And other than that, what else? Yeah, other than that, you can also use the foam blocks in things like Uttanasana, where you're supposed to squeeze your knees in towards each other. So you can place a block here, squeeze that in. That's not going to cause any discomfort. So if you do that with the cork block, you're probably going to bruise yourself. You know, you're going to bruise your inner thighs. But when you're squeezing your knees in and you want to use something to support that squeezing action, you can use the foam block. That's also the same for if you're doing things like squeezing the block between your knees in your boat pose, in any core work that you're doing. I like to do this one a lot, like that. That's just perfect because I don't really want something super heavy when I'm doing my core work. I just want something to hold on to. So these are really useful for things like that. So to summarize, these blocks, the foam ones, this one's from Flexana. I like this color a lot as well. It brightens up my day. And this one is from Decathlon. If you're maybe looking for a more masculine block, you can use this one. These ones are great for restorative practices, things where you want to lie down on your block, you want to use your block like a pillow, things like that. They're also great for whenever you need to hold your block, reach it up over your head, squeeze. So these are things that we do often in yoga so that we can create awareness of what we're supposed to be doing when our hands are over our head and things like that. When you want to squeeze the block between your knees, when you want to hold the block, do different actions, things like that, this is your baby. And if you want more like arm balances, if you want to work on your handstands, you want your block to support your whole body weight, that is going to be your blocks. You're looking for cork blocks, which are going to be able to support you, and they're also a little bit thicker, so they actually serve their purpose in their arm balances. Because if you want to work on an arm balance, and let's say, for example, I'm working on a firefly, I'm looking for a block that's going to take me as far away from the ground as possible. These ones are a little shorter, so they don't serve their purpose for that. So I'm just going to go into this arm balance here as an example. This is Titibasana. It's really useful because it's just going to take me so far away from the ground that I can just do a lot of things with my legs around. Meanwhile, I don't think I could really do any arm balances on this block because the texture, when you press in, it changes. So, if you're wondering which block to get, think first, what do you need the block for? Also, both of the blocks are really suitable for any other variation. So if you just want to like do this kind of thing, it's really the same. It's the same for both blocks. There's no difference. But the only big difference is more restorative, more squishy when you need it to be squishy. And this one is harder and it's heavier and it's for your arm balances, handstands, things like that. So I hope that was useful for you. And obviously we all have different practices and it makes sense that we use different equipment for our practices. And I hope that you actually make the decision on what you need and give you a bit more clarity over which kind of block is more suitable for your practice. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Just let me know in the comments. Maybe I missed something out. And this is absolutely not sponsored in any kind of way. I just thought that this would be a useful way to share with you how different blocks are. And they're super useful for your practice. So I really encourage you to get them. And if you are going to get them, get two. Don't get one, because it just makes more sense to have two blocks. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Farah, and please do subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting, I actually post a lot of yoga classes on my channel, and I'll be posting a lot of reviews and yoga related stuff as well. Thank you. Have a great day and see you next time.